This is Diplomatic Ties on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. On this edition, we will be examining Nigeria-Guinea Bissau as well as Nigeria-Cape Verde relations. The diplomatic ties between Nigeria and the two former Portuguese colonies have been cordial since independence. It is on record that Guinea-Bissau was the only country in West Africa to have fought its way to independence. As students of history, one can recall that the war with Portugal ended in 1974. As a country with enormous interest in democratic governance due to its past experiences, in 1994, the country conducted the first free and fair elections. A military mutiny and resulting civil war in 1998 eventually led to Vieira's ouster in May 1999. In February 2000, our transitional government turned over power to opposition leader Komba Yala after he was elected president in transparent polling. Then in September 2003, after only 3 years in office, Yala was ousted by the military in a bloodless coup, and businessman Enrique Rosa was sworn in as interim president. In 2005, former President Vieira returned from asylum to win presidential election, pledging to pursue economic development and national reconciliation. In March 2009, President Vieira was killed in an assassination attack. He was replaced by an elected leader, Malam Bakai Sanha. Guinea-Bissau is a major transit point for Latin American cocaine headed for Europe, and for some army officials are known to have involved themselves in the trade. The vital cashew nut crop provides a modest living for most of Guinea-Bissau's farmers and is the main source of foreign exchange. Guinea-Bissau is a tropical country on West Africa's Atlantic coast that is known for national parks and wildlife. Now, in an effort to boost trade and diplomatic relations between Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau, as well as good neighborliness within the West African region, President Umaru Sissoco of Guinea-Bissau recently made a 2-day visit to President Muhammadu Buhari. Nigeria also has sound bilateral relations with the Cape Verde. To talk more on the diplomatic ties between Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau as well as the Cape Verde is the Nigerian ambassador to Guinea-Bissau with concurrent accreditation to Cape Verde, John Osanga. He is joining us via Zoom. Your Excellency, John Osanga, you're welcome to Diplomatic Ties.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Yeah, Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Godi Angunihu. Yeah, Your Excellency, let's start with Guinea-Bissau-Nigeria relations. How have the relations been?
If you ask me, I can state with certainty that our bilateral relations with Guinea-Bissau is very cordial, very robust, and indeed very stable. And of course, it dates back to 1974 when the country attained political independence. Since then, the two countries have been strategic partners in Africa and globally. Both countries have full diplomatic missions in each other's country. Nigeria has contributed immensely in the political development of Guinea-Bissau. Nigeria also has been actively involved in rendering assistance to the country on different fronts. The ECOWAS mission in Bissau, called ECOMIG, was recently wound up. In that operation, Nigeria was the arrowhead in the provision of both equipment and personnel. Nigeria has always stood by Guinea-Bissau. We made heavy contributions during their various elections in terms of training, logistics, and equipment. I'd say that we are brother countries. There's virtually nothing we need from them that is not given to us, and vice versa. Shortly before Christmas last year, we deployed the first batch of volunteer medical doctors to Guinea Bissau at their request and at very short notice. Of course, more doctors are being expected even as of today. On the multilateral front, Guinea Bissau and Nigeria are trusted allies. Both countries have leveraged on existing protocols to draw benefits. We have agreements on different fronts, something akin to an omnibus agreement, all aimed at rendering assistance to each other.
From all you said, it's been a rosy relations between Nigeria.
Yes.
It's been rosy between the two countries, Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau. Could you tell us, Nigerians, the state of affairs of the Nigerian mission on your arrival in that country, Guinea-Bissau? How was the mission house there?
Big question. Big question. Coming from Nigeria, I never believed that a chancery building could be situated at the bus stop. I mean, bus stop as in bus up of the building from the road is not up to 10 meters. That made me very apprehensive because my office was facing the road and I sat back in it. Anybody could have climbed the fence or the tree in front of the building and cause any harm we wanted to. So when I asked why we rented such a place, I was made to understand that the increase in rents coupled with constant pressure from the landlord to quickly relocate. And then coming from the private sector, I was a bit surprised about the work environment and the way work was done. As you know, to succeed in the private sector, or to even be relevant at all, you need to perform the composition through excellent service delivery, particularly in effective performance of tasks that are assigned to you. To be able to do this, it's imperative to work in a very conducive environment. So I told myself right from the start that no matter what I met on ground, things will have to change. I gave myself a maximum of 6 months within which to turn things around. So far, we have been able to instill order within a very short time. Unfortunately, too, I met the residents in a state of disrepair, so to speak. Headquarters has been duly notified of the situation, and we are optimistic that our intervention will soon be on its way. We are also grappling with heavy debt which we inherited from my predecessors. They are constantly being harassed for payment on rents and sometimes threats of lawsuits, where we keep giving them assurances that their money will be paid. All we need is time. I've made a case for intention and we are optimistic of a positive outcome. My hope, my expectation is that at the end of my posting to this mission, the mission will be debt-free.
What's the impact of the mission house that you have established there? What's the impact on the Nigerian citizens living there? And then
everybody is so proud, everybody is so happy, everybody is holding their heads very high. Because if there's anything to be proud of, is our being able to move into our building, a building that belongs to us, Nigeria. It's a pride for us, and the whole diplomatic community, they give us kudos for what we have been able to accomplish. You know, upon my resumption at post, I called for a meeting with the Mission Tenders Committee to ascertain the status of the project, which had been ongoing for 13 years. We followed up with a joint inspection with the contractor and his team, and armed with an existing approval from headquarters to commence work on the second phase of the project and moving, I extracted some assurances from the contractor that he would execute the project as specified in the approval. And that is within 4 weeks or 4 months of commencement. We agreed with the contractor to break the project into 4 milestones of completion, and we disbursed the funds to him after each completed milestone. With this arrangement, we were sure that the project would be successfully executed and delivered. Why did we have to do that? because the contract was awarded since 2018 and the money was in account, and the contractor had to execute the job without variation or forgetting. Thankfully, the project was successfully executed and we moved into the building on October 1, 2021. The contractor has done a very good job. Hopefully, the rest of the project will be completed during my posting if there is funding for it. The good thing is that we are now in our own building and we are very, very proud of it.
Okay, Your Excellency, the mission house is yet to be completed. We pray you complete it in no distant time. You talked about Nigeria helping Guinea Bissau in elections. In terms of technical aid from Nigeria to Guinea Bissau, what's your take? What's it like?
Okay, so let me address this question from the perspective of the objectives for which the program was set up. Basically, as we all know, the Technical Aid Corps scheme was designed to further strengthen the bilateral relations between Nigeria and other African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. The idea is to share knowledge, expertise, and experience in various endeavors with these countries. And in so doing, the scheme affords a great opportunity for meaningful contacts between the Nigerian youths and those of the recipient countries. All of this is intended to promote cooperation and understanding between Nigeria and these countries. As I said during the handing over of the volunteer medical doctors last month, we are happy that we are deploying medical doctors at this time.
So what's the
of truth and equipment for peacekeeping rather.
Okay.
Now we are happy to deploy doctors who are basically for life-saving purposes. The deployment is also a way of generating gainful employment for the doctors. So far, so good with the plan, and we're happy about that.
Okay, from what you've said now, Nigeria has actually helped Guinea-Bissau so much. What's the impression of Guinea-Bissau of President Muhammadu Buhari and Nigeria as a whole? How does Guinea-Bissau in its entirety perceive our President Buhari?
Well, let me start with this well-noted fact. With President Sissoko Embalo himself, who has not hidden his love for Nigeria, and President Muhammadu Buhari in particular, for his fantastic leadership. Anytime he makes reference to him, it's always Baba or my father. There's an avenue, a major road in Bissau City that is named after Mr. President. And as Mr. President's representative, I enjoy access to the President of the Republic, Mr. Embalo, and to virtually all the high-ranking officials of government whenever I wish to see them. There's no matter that concerns Mr. President or Nigeria, for that matter, that will not receive immediate attention. I can say of the truth that if Mr. President were to visit Guinea-Bissau today, activities in the country will just shut down. That is the kind of love that this country has for the president. As expected, of course, we are riding on the back of his love and the love that the people have for Mr. President to get things.
Still, what is the level of interactions between Nigerians in Guinea-Bissau and their hosts in terms of cultural and trade relations?
Well, right now there's a lot of collaboration in tourism and cultural exchanges. But unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, these collaborations, especially those taking place in Cabo Verde, they happen among private sector operators. The biggest floating music and studio in Cape Verdean island of Mindelo was single-handedly constructed by Nigeria. Nigeria to Verde and the islands in Guinea-Bissau to shoot films and music videos. Collaborations of this nature are coupled with, heavy investments. And of course,
we're having network issues. So
I said
just go ahead, Your Excellency.
All All right. I said collaborations are basically private sector driven between Nigerians and the citizens of Guinea Bissau and Cape Verde. Okay, Nigerians, they regularly travel to shoot films and videos. So I said these collaborations are coupled with very huge and heavy investments and need to be harmonized and enforced with the proper legal framework and policy to harness them in a way that will add value to the Nigerian economy. Nigeria is not as strong in destination tourism as these two countries, Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, if I may lump them together. Tourism in Nigeria is mostly event-based, even though it attracts many travelers. But these travelers are mostly interested in a type of tourism as a business. So Nigeria is known globally for our music, films, and culture, which are actually exported to, for foreign exchange. We Africans, we have not tapped into the tourism potentials of Guinea-Bissau and even Cape Verde, like the Westerners. I think it was time that we had to leverage on what we already have in informal collaborations with those who already have what we don't have, and what we have, we can make some exchange. In so doing, we can create one pillar of creative industry for ECOWAS and use it to push for ECOWAS regional agenda. All we need to do is to create a platform for the enforcement of conversations around this ideal through deliberate policy. I once challenged the authorities in Cape Verde to give us one island or partner with us for its development to see what we make of it in 10 years, because we are good at infrastructural developments. They are yet to act on that challenge.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your suggestion there. This is Diplomatic Ties on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and His Excellency, the Nigerian ambassador to Guinea-Bissau with concurrent accreditation to Cape Verde, John Osanga, is talking to us via Zoom on relations between Nigeria and the two countries. Yes, Your Excellency, please talk more on what the relationship between Nigeria and Cape Verde is like.
Okay. Our experience in Cape Verde is just a little bit different than our experience in Guinea-Bissau. But we have a very cordial relationship with them. They are very warm and courteous towards Nigerians, but they are also very strict in their enforcement of law and order, which is what we don't understand. I mean, Nigerians who visit this country, they don't understand. They are very strict, no compromise whatsoever. As small as the island is, we have more Nigerians living there than in Guinea-Bissau. We have plenty of intermarriages between Cape Verdean and Nigerian citizens. We have more consular matters there than we do in Guinea-Bissau. We grapple with a lot of consular issues, particularly as concerns visits to the country by Nigerians who have no information about their immigration requirements. For instance, while the other ECOWAS countries they are always ready to abide by the ECOWAS protocols with respect to freedom of movement, residence, and enterprise, and make it easy for Nigerians to visit, live, or work there. Some government officials in Cape Verde, unfortunately, they are not in a hurry to make exceptions for us. Immigration laws are strictly enforced without exceptions, and they apply equally to all countries, even to their close relatives, the Guineans, with whom they share similar history and speak the same Creole or Portuguese language. On the one hand, I sense that they are anxious to be integrated into ECOWAS, and they rely on Nigeria to lead them in. But on the other hand, there's this unexpressed apprehension, I think, of being overwhelmed if they open up their country completely, because they are just about 500,000 in population. But generally speaking, we have a very warm relationship. After all, wow, we are in-laws.
Well, yeah, we are in-laws, Nigeria and Cape Verde. I remember one of our governors, former governors here, married a Cape Verdean. I was talking about Adams Oshomole, and you talked about how strict Cape Verde is, and we want to advise Nigerians who are living there and Nigeria in general, when we're dealing with Cape Verde, we should be more disciplined. I think that's what you mean. Now, your assessment of the trade relations between Cape Verde and Nigeria.
Well, right now we cannot conveniently say that there's a formal trade existing between Nigeria and the two countries, or even Cape Verde or Guinea Bissau. What we have thus is informal trade relations. Prospects of formal trade are constrained by what analysts call parallel or non-complementary structures. There's infrastructural deficit back to back. Consequently, we just have a preponderance of small-scale traders of Nigerian origin in textiles, papers, and sundry individual micro-trade and services. Recently, we stumbled on information that the company in Nigeria paid for 50 metric tons of cashew in Guinea-Bissau. They are yet to take delivery of the consignment, even though the product has been arranged and warehoused for them. So from time to time, we hear of such cases between Nigerians and the businessmen of our host countries. And when they come, they have no recourse to the embassy until they run into problems. And then they come crying to us to perform miracles. We, not being abreast of what transpired from the beginning, makes intervention difficult, because you are speaking of contracts in business deals here. Some Nigerians even come to us seeking endorsement for their private businesses. Well, when we tell them to enter through the main doors, such as the Chamber of Commerce and the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council, they take offense and they resort to publishing falsehood about the mission. Notwithstanding this, I can assure you that we have identified huge potentials in both Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, and we want to encourage responsible business people, entrepreneurs, to take advantage of these potentials. The embassy is always there to guide them. We are very good at so many things, and the land is just a virgin territory for development.
It's quite good, Your Excellency, that you are there making sure that things are done the right way. Are you experiencing challenges in your mission, and how are you surmounting them?
Thank you for this question. Well, my biggest challenge when I arrived here was how to relocate the chancery to a property owned by Nigeria. What I did was to put my foot down to accomplish this within 4 months, and I'm proud to say that we are comfortably settled in our own property, even though it is yet to be fully completed. The second challenge was to restore order in the workplace and put in place a measure of excellence in service delivery, such as we have in the private sector. We have achieved this, and we are looking forward to completing the Chancery building, settling all our inherited debts, and fixing the residents this year. Every other challenge is the usual challenge of diplomatic missions, such as Nigerians having no valid papers to remain in the countries, and such other consular matters like debts and people not having relations to take their bodies and all that, which we tackle and resolve as they come.
What's your advice, Your Excellency, to Nigerians who live in both Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau?
I should say this, I'm a spiritual person, so I will go spiritual here. Nigerians should be aware that we are a blessed people, and no one can unbless what God has blessed. As a blessed people, and the giants of Africa, as it were, it is required of us to be a blessing to the rest of Africa, because, as the scripture says, the lesser is blessed by the greater. I believe that the survival of Africa largely depends on what happens to Nigeria. We cannot afford to disappoint Africa by doing the wrong things. We must provide leadership. Keep your eyes on why you choose to settle in the host country, so that you will succeed and go home happy.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that has been His Excellency, the Nigerian ambassador to Guinea-Bissau with concurrent accreditation to Cape Verde, John Osanga, letting us in on how Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, as well as Nigeria-Cape Verde relations have been so far. Join us again for another edition of Diplomatic Ties, same time, same station next week. And on behalf of Diplomatic Ties crew, this is Nancy Godiangolihu thanking you for watching.